Okay. It's retweeted everywhere. A longer episode this week than I was expecting.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on. One more time?
I'm just mumbling to myself. There we are.
Okay. Out of curiosity, are you editing the game club tonight or next week with your normal schedule?
It depends on how bedtime goes for my kid. If it goes smoothly, then tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much your life fucking changes when you have kids. It's like, it depends on my kid.
Yeah, man. Yep. Alright, you guys ready to start this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Alright. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Hello.
And the Nymph.
Hello.
Last week we talked about our games of the generation. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that 3-hour and change episode, it turned out really well. There are no spoilers there, so we're not going to be like, oh, here's the ending of this game. Whoops. So it's a good listen. You should go check that out. Patreon.com/E1M1, the ones are numbers. Behind the scenes audio, all the cool extra early stuff, critical misses, we roguelike it, exclusive audio, get all that stuff for you. Help me pay for the show and keep filling up that bar until I cry to some spooky scary games. What better way to ring in the new year
I was just going to say, I hope we ring in the new year with your first stream.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure you're very much like me in the fact that you don't drink at all, if/anything.
Yeah, very, very, very rarely.
Like, it would be a perfect New Year's Eve stream.
That's right.
Start Resident Evil 7.
That's right. Yeah. Pop the cork, start crying. It's Resident Evil 7. Yeah. Patreon.com/E1M1. Normally, this is where I would toss it over to Mr. Moonpeer over there for what he'd been playing. But the next generation, now current generation of consoles has finally landed for those of you that beat out the bots to purchase some of them. So I figured we'd start the episode by talking about both of the brand new platforms. Moon, you and I both have Series X's. I have a PS5, and I think Nymph, you didn't buy either one of them, right?
Nope, I abstained.
Okay. So let's start with the Series X here, because I think that's the shared one between Moon and I. Probably one of the easiest console setups I've had ever. The only wrinkle I ran into is they do something really smart, which is when you turn it on, it says, grab the Xbox app, put in this code, and we will help you set the console up. And it's like a 10-digit code. Of course, my kid loves repeating letters, so she's repeating random letters all over the screen as I'm trying to type them in the Xbox app. That did not go very well for me. What I wish Microsoft... This is the only part that I had a problem with on either one of the consoles. I wish that Microsoft had been clear about you need the app here at the first step to join your wireless network. It won't work if you're wired. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I skipped it, and as soon as I skipped it, they're like, hey, look, you're online already. You ready to update your console, get all this stuff hooked up? And I was like, okay. That makes sense why I couldn't connect it. But I walked through the process with the app, got everything connected. It already had me logged into my Microsoft account from the app, and it found my other Xbox because I had it on, and it just said, all right, here's the games you can copy over. What do you want to copy over? Let's get going. And that was it. Like 10 minutes, maybe?
The speed of that internal network transfer is shockingly quick.
Yeah, I'm getting an average of 200 megs when I'm downloading from the internet, and I was getting around 650 from local. So stuff like here's when it picked all my stuff, it was like, you have 475 games to copy over. It's like, no, I absolutely don't. But it was like,
I mean, did you accidentally log into my account?
Right, I'm like, did I steal Moon's account? It was 10 games and 465 songs for Rock Band 4. It was
Yep.
like, there it is. I found
Mhm.
it. So yeah, it scooted over all that stuff and installed it in, I think, like 2.5, 3.5 hours over my local network, and it was super easy. Nothing, no problem.
I had some minor issues with the
Okay.
setup process. Mostly because my wife didn't get an X.
Mhm.
She has an X. She didn't get a Series X. She didn't get the new one.
Right.
So my wife was playing online games the whole time,
Ah, aha.
as my wife does, and that's fine. That's her prerogative. So the day I got it, I came home. The box was waiting for me on my porch. Thanks for that delivery, people, with your required signatures on my backside.
Right.
And I came in, I played a little bit of Apex Legends, spoiler for the main show, or spoiler for my section in the future. And then I waited until she went to bed.
Mhm.
Normally, my wife goes to bed at like 8 or 9 p.m.
Sure.
No, this time it was midnight.
And you're over there like chewing your nails, like, please, please.
Well, I ended up bringing it up here to my office, putting it on my little console stand I have here to my right, which is what I use when I'm streaming. I just literally unplug the consoles from downstairs, bring them up, plug them in, done.
Mhm.
So I ended up bringing it up here, getting it set up here, which is why I didn't know the wireless thing, because I just had it connect wirelessly from here because
Gotcha.
I couldn't be bothered finding my green Ethernet cable, which,
Is now in
of
eyesight.
course, when I can't say that I can't find it, it's right here.
Hello.
So I couldn't find that thing. So I just set it up wirelessly, and then I just unplugged my hard drive from downstairs,
Mhm.
my external hard drive, brought her upstairs. I took my Astro A50s, brought them upstairs because I connected them to the PC, give that a software update.
Mhm.
Now they connect through USB rather than optical because the Series X doesn't have optical.
Right.
Which that was fine. I plugged them in. I updated them using the launcher that I have anyway because this is an old generation Astros that I still use. Updated that, plugged my hard drive into the Series X, and was like, show me optimized for Series X games. I'm going to copy them straight over to the hard drive.
Sure, right.
So I copied over like 3 games that were on my external, and then the next day I came home and I plugged everything in downstairs, and then literally it was like, okay, I haven't done any prep work for this, so just copy the entire Xbox One X over to the Series X, please. I'll figure it out at a later date.
Right.
So that's what I did. I told it to do that, and then honestly, I was busy exercising, doing chores, cleaning, preparing for work, that kind of stuff. So I just let it run. It took me the better part of 2 days to do it because I was copying over 1 terabyte worth of information.
Right.
And also because I was stopping it all of the time to allow my wife to play games with her friends.
Right. Right.
So I just let it go, let it install everything. I have purchased Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so I let that download and install. Spoiler alert for my segment coming up.
Right.
And then I just let it run in the background for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, the second day of doing it, it was fine. But I wasn't using it anyway, to be honest, because I haven't had a whole lot of time to game. Like, sit down, play games for 30 minutes, go to bed, yay! That's been my past 2 weeks.
I do have to say, one of the things that I am... There are pluses and minuses in the same categories for both consoles. I think the biggest plus and minus for the OS on the Series X is that it is exactly the same as it is on the previous gen consoles.
Literally, that's what my wife said. It looks the same as, like, they're going for a unified operating system, so it will look the same.
And, like, I think that's a plus, because, like, I've been doing a lot of stuff with HDR and the 4K stuff and calibrating, and I know where that stuff is. Like, it's in the same place it's always been for, like, the last couple of years, and I think that's really great. The animated background, the Series X looks good, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, exclusive to the X and not the S, but that's not a deal breaker.
I didn't even know there was an animated background, because my background has and forever will be the Elite Dangerous Shipping Tea achievement.
Oh,
which is just a dude in a bowler hat with a spacesuit stuff, sipping on a cup of tea in a hangar. So I didn't even know it did that, to be honest.
Yeah. And I think I like the controller a lot because it's just an Xbox controller, and they kind of massaged all of this stuff to make it a little better.
Hmm.
I think the D-pad is a little bit clickier than I would like it to be, but I don't like super loud clicky stuff.
Don't worry, that goes away real quick.
Okay.
With those disc ones, at least if the Elite controllers or anything to go by, that click will go away pretty quickly.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think, like I said, pluses and minuses about the Series X is it's another Microsoft console that has the same OS and the same controller, and all the controllers you have work for it, and almost all of the games you have work for it. So like I have my launch Xbox One over here, and now that it's done copying stuff to my Series X, I can just unplug it because everything works on my console. So
Hmm.
that's and it the console itself looks great. It's
Very
smaller.
cube shaped.
Yeah, like it's smaller than I was expecting and a little bit heavier than I was expecting, but it
The
looks
on,
cool.
the only reason you were expecting it to be less heavy was because you haven't had got your hands on it on the One X.
I
Because
haven't,
the
yeah,
One X is small and that thing is heavy as hell.
real dense thing, yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's sort of funny because like if I was to review this console, it'd be like, yeah, it's an Xbox, and now it does 4K and ray tracing and 120 frames and all the cool stuff you would want it to, variable refresh rate and all that stuff. But same controller, same interface. It's familiar. You know how to use it already.
Yeah. The one thing I did love, by the way, was like literally like 700 notifications
Mm,
on the Series X as I let it copy everything over. Like I'm like you, I've got a whole bunch of DLC, so it was just like when I wasn't paying attention to it, it was giving me, and they were both switched on. It was giving me notifications when things had been copied over. So like
mm.
Hitman has copied over, Sapienza has copied over, Episode 3 is copied over. So
Oh right.
I literally had a little bell icon on the main screen. It was like four, 5, 6, 700 notifications. And it's just like I'm just gonna go in and mark all these as red, I think, because I don't
Yeah.
need to know all of that stuff.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts from the Series X?
No, it's good.
Yeah.
It's snappy, which is
Yes.
obviously one of the biggest perks for this thing. The only issue I have is the same issue I had with the original Xbox One and the Series X, which is if you are downloading something and playing something at the same time, be that local download or an online download, it deliberately like limits your download rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it does that because everything requires an internet connection to play these days, and you'd rather have a slightly slower download than get disconnected from the game you're currently playing.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Over on the PS5 side, it's pretty much the polar opposite of everything we just said. Um, except for the setup. The setup was also really straightforward. It fired up, it gave me a QR code and said, hey, fire up the PlayStation app and scan this QR code. That will sign you in if you're signed in the app. It signed me in like half a millisecond. So that was super easy to do too. It saw my network, got me set up, updated my controller, updated the console, and I elected not to do the network transfer stuff because I had seen that there were a bunch of people that it wasn't working correctly for them. And I was like, that's fine. There's a bunch of stuff on my PS4 anyway that I don't necessarily need to bring over, and all my saves are in the cloud, so I'll just download those again and it'll be fine. Same thing as the other one. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I was in. And I think so for the positives, I really like the DualSense. I think it's a really great controller. I think it's a really great next step for PlayStation controllers. And we talked about it, I think it was a couple weeks ago when I got the one I have sitting right here. It just feels really great. It does feel a little bit alien because it's a little bit bigger and a lot heavier than the DualShock 4. And we'll get into in my games in my list, we'll get into some of the features. But I think The interesting thing is, I have always liked the PlayStation 4's UI. It is just a row of games, and above that, it's just a row of icons for all your stuff you need to do. They threw all that out, and they made a whole new OS, and I'm not entirely sure why they did that. Now it's a whole list of games, and by that I mean just 8. You can't expand that list into more of them. And your list above that is at the bottom of the screen now. And everything in the middle is this card system they've been talking about, which so far has been fine, but it's a lot of having to relearn how to ride that bike. Because, like, everything seems sort of familiar, but it's in a different spot, or you get to it in a different way, or, they moved it into a deeper menu or stuff like that. Obviously not deal breakers, but it's one of those things where you can see the pluses and minuses on the Series X, where it's like, I got this new console that looks the same when I fire it up. That's weird, but okay. And then it's, I got this brand new console over here with the PS5, and I don't know where anything is, but like...
At least you don't have to relearn 2 operating systems. You only have to relearn 1.
Right. And I do really like that on both consoles, the dashboard is native 4K. It moves at 60 frames. The Series X doesn't seem to support HDR on the dashboard. The PS5 does, which obviously is not like a deal breaker or anything, but it's kind of interesting. So it's nice to fire up a console and see like, oh, all right, this looks from a OS UI standpoint, this looks significantly better. But it's all that stuff where it's like, all right, I'm sort of still learning how to get around this stuff. I also can't believe I've been remiss to mention it's huge.
Yeah,
like
some of the stuff I've seen, shocking how big that thing is.
It is way bigger than I was expecting it to be, and I was expecting it to be really big. It's not like taller than my computer tower. Like it's not the biggest thing in my house or anything. But it's one of those things where you take it out and you're like, yeah, all right, like this stand is gonna hold it. You sure? Like this thing is real big and real heavy. I do like that the like in the fins on the top, it does glow blue. It glows white, like it a lot like the PS4 did. So it is a cool looking console, but and also as someone who primarily has been playing on the PS4, very impressed at how absolutely silent both of those consoles are.
Yeah, like it shocks me how quiet the Series X is. Like there is literally not a noise coming off that thing. Even when I'm pushing, I had 3 games open the other day.
Yep.
Like all at once. I was jumping between game, and game. I'm not going to mention them because I'll talk about them in a little bit. But it was just like close, load, close, load, close, load.
Yep.
Like, and it was just like, okay, so this genuinely works.
Yeah. Yeah, smart delivery does genuinely work. It's really crazy.
Yeah, as a test, I also loaded a game from my hard drive, my external hard drive,
right,
which does not do the quick resume. Just so you know, now that might be a game-by-game basis.
Right.
It's color me completely unsurprised that Ikenfell doesn't have a quick resume option.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the quick resume stuff. I'm happy with the smart delivery stuff. I think that I need to download 2018's God of War on my PS5 to see how that pushes it. Because I think the PS5 patch is out for that right now. But I gotta say, probably the most impressive thing coming from the launch Xbox One to the Series X has been the load time for Forza Horizon 4, which before was minutes, like genuinely minutes, and now is 5 seconds, 7 seconds. Like it is no time at all.
Yeah, Valhalla has, I think it's a because I don't know if the PlayStation does this, but the Xbox does the whole thing where it puts up a JPEG
It does, yeah.
and then brings you into the menus. From JPEG to menus is probably about 2 seconds. You're already confirming that the menu selection before the menu's even animated itself in yet.
Right.
And then you're in the game within about 15 seconds and under. And that's
Yep.
an Assassin's Creed loading, which, for
That's
those of you who
crazy.
played Odyssey and Origins, was about 5 minutes previously.
Yeah, like it was very much a thing where it's like, all right, I will sit here and read the tooltips and look at some concept art forever. Okay, I guess I'll look at Twitter for a little bit.
I will say one thing about the PS5 that's made me super jelly, and I hope Microsoft takes hint from this. And they kind of did, but I think they backed off after the first release of the Xbox One. That new trophy video is amazing.
It's really fun. I left it on because I didn't think I would enjoy it, but there's a lot of interesting UI stuff there that I don't know if I want to celebrate early days because I think when you look at AstroBot and you look at some of the early games where I'm sure Sony is highly encouraging developers to put it in very early days. I think a lot of that stuff is really cool where it's like, oh, you need to know how to get this individual trophy. Just look at this video.
Look at one of the clips. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like a 15,
Yeah.
30-second video. Here you go. And I like the card system a lot. I was showing that to my wife the other day where it's like, oh, in AstroBot, I only got half the collectibles in this level. I can just hit from in the PS5's home screen, I can hit square, and it loads up the game and dumps me in that individual level without any of the load times before that. And it takes me like 4 or 5 seconds, and you're in a level and playing it already from like the point where the game was closed.
Yeah.
So it's incredible.
Stuff like that should be interesting with third-party stuff because,
Yeah.
like, it's like, is it gonna ask you, do you want to overwrite your current campaign? Is it gonna overwrite your current progress? That kind of stuff.
Right.
But the big thing for me is like on the trophy video thing was I think Microsoft put the kibosh on that at the start of the Xbox One because they give developers the opportunity to say you can choose when to create a video for these people playing based on certain things.
Okay.
And in Peggle, it was like, every time you got Peggle 2 specifically, every time you got the last peg, it would record a clip for you. It would like do bounce in the hole, then record a clip.
Right.
But then you've got FIFA where, oh, you did a long shot, there's a clip. Oh, you got a save, there's a clip. Oh,
Clip
you did
it
a
up.
header, there's a clip.
Right.
Literally, my hard drive was full of clips, and I
Yeah.
didn't want any of them. So I think maybe if Xbox does it and ties it to the achievements like Sony has, that would probably actually be a much better idea.
Yeah, actually, speaking of hard drive stuff, that's the big elephant in the room for this generation, especially here at the beginning. I have everything I need installed on both consoles, and my Series X is sitting at about 45% of the hard drive full, and it's what 800 and change is the drive
I think the free
available.
space when you get past everything already installed, I think it's like 875 maybe you get.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good amount, and I have No Man's Sky installed and Fortnite and Destiny 2, and like I've got a significant number of pretty large games there. And then for me over on the PS5, I have all that stuff installed, including a whole bunch of PS4 stuff and the Division 2, which is now 120 gigs. PS5 starts out with 667 gigs of usable space, and
Oof.
I'm at half of that. So, and that's with everything I need right now installed on it. So, I don't have an external plugged in on my PS5. If I start running into problems, I could easily move PS4 games off onto there that don't need stuff like Ikenfell, stuff like some of these games where it's like, I could put Binding of Isaac over there because it doesn't need the speed improvements. It greatly benefits from them because, of course, I tried out Binding of Isaac and it's very fast to load now.
Of course you do.
Yeah. But yeah, I have to say for both consoles, we've seen a lot of horror stories online lately about
including fake ones, which I love, by the way.
yeah, don't vape in your Series X. That's not a good idea. We've seen a lot of stuff of Series X is hard locking and PS5's not waking up out of rest mode and a coil whine out of the disc version of the PS5. But, I don't know how much of that stuff is true early days, because either there might be some people trying to, like those vaping videos, some people trying to get a bunch of clicks, or just that those normal errors in manufacturing when a console first comes out.
Or shipping damage.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's still early days on that stuff of, is this stuff broken, or is it, does Miles Morales need a patch so it doesn't, put your PS5 to sleep permanently like some PS5s have been. But yeah, so far I'm very happy with both. And I'm very happy with kind of the whole experience from, I do have to give Microsoft a lot of credit. Sony their packaging has been like, oh, we're super environmentally friendly, like there's not a lot of packaging in there, that was fine. But man, opening that Series Xbox and having the thing on like a little seat where it's kind of presented to you, like they did such a good job of thinking about how that console was going to be presented to you, like even where the cables are in the back that just flips open and you just reach in there in the cable. Like you don't have to take anything out. It's just, here's the console. It's all wrapped, so it's safe. And like, here's all your controllers and cables and stuff. Like, just here you go. I thought that was really cool.
As a side note, by the way, my hard drive space on my Series X is full.
Okay. Not super surprising, but
I honestly, I just need to go in and start moving stuff over. But at the moment, I'm too lazy, and I'd rather spend the hour I get a day to play video games rather than do memory management.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Any last thoughts here on the hardware and the experience before we toss it over to games?
No.
Okay. Then what have you been playing this past week?
Okay. So we'll start with the old stuff. Ikenfell, which if it comes over, which you may not hear, thank you RTX voice, but if you hear rattling of wood and wind, don't worry, that's just my house and the big bad wolf outside.
That's right. Just slightly haunted.
So yeah, I played Ikenfell, a whole bunch of Ikenfell. Like that's been my goal over the past 4 weeks. Spoiler alert, because Game Club happened.
Right.
So check out next Wednesday.
Next Monday. Yeah.
Next Monday.
Sunday, Monday, next week.
Yeah, some point next week when we will do our Game Club on Ikenfell. And then great news for the month after that, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. Real quick note about Ikenfell, though. It is on... We cover a lot of spoilers in the show, so if you haven't played it, it is on Game Pass for PC and Xbox. It's something really special, and if the difficulty gets you down, like it got us down, don't be afraid to use the some of the options in the accessibility menu to just either make it way easier, which still makes it pretty hard, or kind of give you the option to just kind of finish a battle whenever you want.
Yep. Yeah. Genuinely interesting thoughts on that one, which
you'll
get when you get it.
Yeah.
I played a little bit of Apex Legends. I know they just did a HDR update for it before the new consoles even came out. They did a HDR update for it, which is hilarious because my wife is having HDR issues like you, Boston, but she's having it only with Apex Legends, which makes me laugh because it's the only thing she's playing.
She and I are kindred spirits then, because the majority of the issues I'm having with HDR are in Destiny 2, because Destiny 2's HDR implementation is really rough. Jess and I actually played Apex together using crossplay.
Yes, we did. I forgot that happened within the past 2 weeks, and we didn't talk about it on last week's show.
Right. I am really happy with how well that worked. I was playing on PS4. You two were both playing on Xbox, and we were able to use the in-game party stuff and There were no issues. There's no party chat during like where the game is
Initial
showing.
load screen.
Yeah, like the concept art, like loading thing, which is fine. The game is doing some stuff, like that's okay. But I didn't have any audio issues hearing either one of you guys. We had no performance issues. We played a handful of matches, I think.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5, I think, in total.
Yeah.
Before you had to run off and record a different show. Not that you have a problem
Right.
or anything.
Yeah, not at all. But man, that new map is super cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
And maybe you need to get together, an Apex Wednesday or something like that, because you've
Yeah.
already got your Dadstonny days with your Thursdays
right.
and your Fridays.
That's right.
So maybe Apex Wednesdays can be a thing.
I do have to say, I'm still super bummed that Apex doesn't have cross progression yet, because I have all of this stuff on my PlayStation version, like all the Amazon Prime, the Prime Gaming skins and weapon skins, and like all the veteran unlockables and stuff like that. And then when I come over to the Xbox side, it's like, yeah, you're level 2. Sorry. It's just like, that's... And I did another Google search where it's like, Respawn, when are you doing cross progression? Like, crossplay works really great. When is the other thing? And they're like hemming and hawing, be like, yeah, it's really hard, but like, what are you gonna do? And it's like, yeah, maybe use the EA account system. Cough, 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 cough.
Do you really want Origin in the background for that kind of stuff?
I mean, no, but I'd like to play it on multiple platforms, so I don't know.
We know they're looking into it. They are looking into cross progression. They have said as much. Like, they are interested to try and get that implemented, but obviously this is a game that is a game as a service game, which means things like that are very difficult to implement.
Yeah, like I can't fault them for having trouble with it, but yeah, it's the new season seems really cool. The new Legend seems really cool. Like, Apex is just still a cool game.
Yes, and you're not wrong. Like, that new map looks cool. Like, it's literally a Bespin. Like, it's just a cloud city.
Yep, and it's so different from, I feel like, the typical stuff from the outside that you see of Apex, which is like that first map where it's kind of sandy and there's the bones and rocks and the kind of red buildings you would see. And it's nice to see this kind of almost sterile environment, especially from above. It's really striking.
Yeah, and it's surprisingly enough still fun to play. Boston playing as Pathfinder because, to quote you, Pathfinder is cute, and that is all the reason you need.
He's the cutest. Yeah.
Yes.
He's great.
I don't know if he's the cutest anymore. Watson might take that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have 5 legends available to me as a free-to-play scumbag.
Hey, I'm a free-to-play scumbag too. You can you'll get enough materials pretty quickly to start unlocking them, so don't worry too much about that. I recommend Watson because she makes dad jokes all the time.
Love it.
She has electrical powers, and she constantly makes jokes about electricity, such as, "Oh, maybe that hurts a little bit."
Boo.
Yes, all the time. Everything she says is a pun of some sort. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, go Watson next. Just don't play with them if you unlock Watson, because then you'll never be able to play her. But no, Apex is good. I like the new map. I like the vehicles. Some of the clips that have come out have been hilarious. I'm looking at my wife driving off an edge because she thought it was a half pipe.
That was really good.
It's dumb fun, and it will continue to be dumb fun. I still don't know how I feel about the new progression for the new season. Obviously, I'll figure out how I feel about that towards the end.
It's a little. As someone who hasn't really played a lot of Apex, it's a little confusing. Where it's like, oh yeah, do these things to get multiple stars, to get stars to level up, and I'm just like, okay.
They literally replaced XP with stars. That's essentially what they did. But now a number of XP gives you a star. It's strange.
Yeah, it's. I feel like they're getting to where they want to be, which is like I feel like they're trying to make it super clear about how many things will get you to the next level. And in this instance, it's like 10 stars, I think it is.
10 stars per level.
Yeah, so you know 10 stars will get you to the next level. This challenge for this day will get you 1 or 2 or 3, so you can kind of very clearly see how you're going to get from point A to point B. But I feel like the exchange of XP to stars is still a little bit weird.
Yeah, it's also a little bit weird because they changed how much that was from what it was when it came out, the day it came out, because it was too much previously.
It was really bad.
Yeah. It actually works out now as more XP effective than it was before.
Okay.
Because now it's a case of 5,000 XP will get you a star, period. So you'll get there pretty quickly anyway. Plus, if you do all the dailies, you get a level. Just like you like.
Oh, perfect.
Something that you wouldn't get previously. So that's good.
Yeah.
And if you don't do all of them, you do 4 of the 5, and you don't do the other one, you still get the stars to take you to the next level, so you can clock it in the next day, whatever.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I think it will be better. I think they need to refine it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Still good though. Deep Rock Galactic. Played some of this with the boyos. It was fun. The game looks incredible on the Series X. Like it runs so crisp and smooth. I do feel like they've added a whole bunch more lighting effects in it. Whether or not that's ray tracing yet, I don't think it is, because I'm pretty sure they'd be touting it as one of the big things for it.
Probably, yeah.
But they definitely added in a whole bunch of lighting stuff. And I'm pretty sure they did another update because there's a whole bunch more new stuff in there that I haven't seen yet. So Deep Rock Galactic continues to be the ever-evolving game that is fun to just switch off my brain and play.
Yeah.
Let's see. To keep with the times, me, known connoisseur of pop culture, I played Call of Duty. Modern Warfare. The old one, not the new one. Which I feel like I have to clarify that for Boston and Boston alone.
No,
Modern Warfare
Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and I was like, got me.
Yes. It was last year's one. Honestly, I'm just playing this because I installed it because my wife went through a phase of playing a lot of Call of Duty. So I installed it and thinking, if she ever needs somebody, I'll play it. Kind of like Rainbow Six Siege. And then I got a new console. Or rather, then I found out I was getting a new console. And I realized it's 190 gigs.
It's so big.
So I'm playing the campaign. When I say I'm playing, I played the campaign.
Nice.
I beat the campaign. And now I'm doing that little bit of achievement cleanup, and then that thing's getting uninstalled so quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's a little bit dumb.
Yeah.
It's a little bit dumb.
Just a touch.
Just a smidge. Just a skosh. Yeah, it's an okay campaign. It looks amazing. Even on the Series X, not the Series X, the One X, it looks amazing. I haven't played it on the Series X yet, because when I transferred it over to the Series X, it told me I didn't own the game.
Great.
Nice.
So I had to delete the game and then reinstall the game.
There you go.
And now it recognizes that I own the game.
Great.
So not only did I move almost 200 gig from console to console, I then had to delete and reinstall almost 200 gig of content to be able to play the game again.
A quick side note. I ran into this on the PS5 as well, where they do a really good job of, when you look at a game that's available on PS4 and it has like a next-gen upgrade, it will bring you to the store and say, hey, here's the PS5 version. It's a free download. Just click this button and we'll start downloading the PS5 version. Like, great. That sounds super good. So I started downloading Borderlands 3 because I was like, I haven't really played it. It's 4K 60 now. Like, that seems like a really good opportunity to play it. And I've run into this on a couple of games. It downloads both versions, and by both, I mean the PS4 and the PS5 version. So when I went in the PS5, it's like, yeah, you have 100 gigs for Borderlands 3 PS4, and you have 56 gigs for Borderlands 3 PS5. And it's like, why would you do that? So I deleted the PS4 version, and it still works fine. It's like, oh, yeah. Okay, that's really Weird. Or like early days growing pains,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
the world-ending thing, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, that's weird. Okay.
The Xbox version of that is so simple. It's like, this
Yep.
has an upgrade available. Do you want to download it? Yes.
Yep.
Here is the upgrade download. And it even shows a little like arrow pointing up, arrow pointing down symbol on the game's thing
Yeah.
in the install to say this has an upgrade that you can download.
Yep. It's really smooth.
Yeah.
But
Props to
that
them for
doesn't excuse Call of Duty because this has been an issue since the game
Oh.
came out.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Where you're constantly just re-downloading 90 gigs of data because they're like, oh, this 1 gig patch came out, and because we
Mhm.
jacked up the source code, you have to re-download all 100 gigs now
Yeah.
on top, and then
I'm pretty
It's
sure the
bad.
multiplayer for Call of Duty still uses Quake code inside of it.
Probably, yeah.
Like,
Most games
it's-
do still because it's
It's a
good
little
network code.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, so fun fact as well, Cold War is 205 gigs on the PC, just so you
Yes.
know.
screw
Great.
that. So what? You just thought the campaign was pretty good or okay?
I thought it was solid. I
Big
really
guns,
like the main-
explosions, and credits that just says America.
That's right.
Yes. Here is the Russian war crime that was actually an American war crime.
Yeah.
I got to relive all those moments that have been memed for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
It's fine. It looks amazing. Spoiler alert, I played it on Veteran because there's an achievement for it, and it was considerably easier than most of the Veteran campaigns of the past couple, so
Okay.
I'm happy with that.
Not bad.
Correction, the past couple I played, which was when it was nightmarishly hard on Veteran.
Right.
I think they
Oh.
have a professional
They
difficulty,
do,
now, don't they?
which is
Yeah.
Veteran with no hood.
Yeah.
Oh, woof.
Yes. The game looks beautiful. I love the night vision sequences because it looks like true night vision, and it's really great when you go and you pretend you're Sam Fisher, and then you cry because Sam Fisher doesn't exist right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the campaign is fine. It's very much the Destiny thing too, where mechanically it still feels really good to shoot in that game. Like
Right.
the Call of Duty invented left trigger, right trigger, like motion. It still feels great to do. I'm just not doing it against humans. You can all go away. I don't know. No.
Yeah.
The only reason I would ever do that is if my wife sounded the horn, Gondor calls for aid, and then very reluctantly the Rohirrim, that's me, run to the aid.
Right.
But Call of Duty is pretty solid. Again, I just want to get that campaign done. All the achievements are campaign based, so I will get them. That will be uninstalled.
Oh,
Thank you.
good.
There's like 25% of my stuff back again.
Right.
Okay, so I talked about that one. 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 Let's talk some Tetris Effect.
Tetris Effect connected?
Yes. Sorry, let me just correct my notes here to say connected.
Yep.
Since you're going to be pedantic about it.
Because it's Tetris Effect, but better, because now it has multiplayer and co-op.
And also it is on Game Pass. So
Yes, which is even
ahead.
better.
Yes. So that's a really good Tetris game.
Yo, it's real good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like I've only done 2 stages so far for the record, like of the journey mode. I've done the first stage and the
Right.
second stage. The music, this reminds me of Rez and Child of Eden. Like it's that
Yep.
kind of level.
Like all that stuff comes together so perfectly.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've played a Tetris game, so I frequently forget how fun Tetris is to play.
Yeah.
Especially when it's not an EA Tetris game on your mobile phone that's designed around microtransactions. I forget how good Tetris is to play.
Yeah, when they don't mess around with Tetris and they just let you play the game. Weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shockingly enough, Tetris is still an incredible game.
Yep.
Especially when it gives you different musical themes. And I don't know if you do this, but I can't help but drop to the beat now.
I do that sometimes. Yeah.
Whereas,
It's-
like, I literally cannot seem to help myself. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to drop to the beat. Like, I'm going to get it in position, wait for the next beat, and then hit up on the D-pad, and there you go, straight to the bottom on the beat.
Yeah.
I feel successful now. It
You're
makes
not just-
no difference.
I was gonna say
No.
you're not humming the beat to yourself as you're slowly clicking down
Yeah.
on it.
I
Boosh,
no,
boosh,
I
boosh.
may or may not be bopping my head a little bit like
Yeah.
like a parrot listening to some music. Like,
Yeah. It's so
Like-
Tetris Effect is so good. I'm so glad it finally came to Xbox because
Me too.
it
Because now I have the chance, if it's as good as it feels so far, to finally
Yeah.
put it on a Game of the Year list for me.
that's
So
right.
that's interesting for me.
Yeah.
It looks great. It's obviously 4K, HDR, blah, 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 blah.
60 frames. Yeah.
Yeah. Little disappointed I haven't. I don't have the VR experience because everyone talks about how that was a mind-blowing experience.
Yeah, I've heard it's good. Yeah.
But I'll play it. I'll probably play some multiplayer at some point and see how that goes. It would be really great if it was Tetris Connected 99 and it was a battle
Right.
royale with Tetris Connected. That would be a
Yeah.
little crazy.
I feel like I didn't realize that it had co-op in it, and I
did not know until you said it had co-op.
Yeah, because I feel like they've really been pushing, like, multiplayer Tetris, like, it's back again. But I really want to play co-op with my wife and see, because apparently the two people in co-op, both of you are working towards the same goal at the same time. So
Mhm.
instead of dumping lines on someone else's play field, you're essentially like, oh, I cleared 4 lines. That clears 4 lines towards our shared goal. I was like, oh, that's
Interesting.
perfect. Because I don't want to compete against my wife in Tetris because, number one, that's not fun. Number two, she's so good at it, I will lose 10 out of 10 times.
So you don't want to be passing the Tetris master belt back and forth.
Yeah, no, she's way better than I am. Jeez.
Yeah, we have a no competitive multiplayer. Sorry, no
Yep.
competitive against each other multiplayer rule in this house for
Yep.
a good reason.
We
So-
just don't find it fun to compete against each other. Like that's just
No.
I want to work together. I don't want to compete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where I stand too. So it's going to be interesting, and I will play co-op. If you want to play it with me, give me a message. I'm sure you can take 10 minutes of my hour of game time a day that I currently have to
Right.
try and get some levels done.
Hey, now with the faster load times, that 10 minutes goes a
It's
long
more
way.
efficient time.
That's
Exactly.
right. That's right.
But the only downside is now I can't make a cup of tea while I wait for a game to load.
That's right.
Just
start up.
give it a year. You'll be back there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like AC
Yeah.
Valhalla, you can't just make a cup while you're waiting for that bar to fill.
Speaking of, let's talk about AC Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, this is another Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah.
You.
I made a mistake
Oh, okay.
because between Odyssey and this, I played a little bit of Black Flag.
Mm.
Black Flag uses the traditional Assassin's Creed controls.
Oh no.
This uses Odyssey controls.
Uh-huh. I see the
So-
problem.
It took me a little while to get back into the game, we'll say.
Sure.
Have either of you guys played this yet?
No, not yet.
No, I have both of those sitting downstairs, and I think I'm gonna blow through Watch Dogs Legion first because I typically don't care about doing everything in a Watch Dogs game, but I feel like the last 2 Assassin's Creed games, the side quest stuff has been so rewarding that I'd rather spend my Ubisoft open world time over on that side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
understandably so.
I got as far as installing it, and
My wife
that's
did the
all
same.
they've been able to do.
Yeah.
Well, the same. Like I picked her up and it installed on mine, it installed on hers, and I've started it, and she just continues to play Apex.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just destroy this for you straight away, Boston.
Okay.
In a good way.
Oh, okay.
You build a town.
Oh no!
Yeah, you do.
Why? All right. My weakness.
So I'm like 7 hours into the game, and I just got to the town building. Just so you know.
Okay. So it's another modern Assassin's Creed game where it's like, yeah, you're gonna be in here for like 50 hours plus.
1,000%, because I did a bunch of exploring in the place, and then I went to the different place. I don't want to say anything because I feel like anything I say will be a spoiler, and
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this story so far. However, I said the same thing about Origins, and I said the same thing about Odyssey, and you have got
Yeah.
every right to say that those two are both games of the generation.
Yes.
So I'm trying not to spoil anything.
Going for the ride.
I'm going for the ride. I went from the place to the place, and anyone who's played the game will know exactly what I'm talking about with that.
Well, I know that it does something similar that Odyssey did, where it's like, here's your tutorial island, where it would give you kind of a smaller area to kind of wander around in and get your feet back on land again, and then boom, here's the giant, big open world stuff.
Yes, and you can tell it does that because on that small tutorial island, just like Odyssey, it has the level recommendations for the areas.
Oh yeah,
And if you move the cursor to the area next to it, it's like recommended level 288. I was like, nope.
wait a minute, I'm level
Right
2.
after that.
Wait a tick.
So I'm just going to nope out of that zone and stick back here. Thank you very much. So far, the game looks gorgeous, number one.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the screenshots popping around your social medias, the game looks incredible.
That last like 4K trailer they put out was just like, oh man, yeah, like it really came together in the last couple months and looks so good.
I've seen a lot of people talking about the screen tearing and the frame rate issues and blah 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 blah. That will probably be patched out sooner rather than later.
Yep,
we'll see.
And neither of us have displays that do
VRRs.
variable refresh rates. So
Yes,
like I know some people have said like, oh, I turn on VRR and it fixed all these problems. So yeah, not a thing for
big
us.
thing for me. I barely noticed it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I tend not to, unless it's like Lego Star Wars level of screen tearing. I don't notice screen tearing.
I notice that. Other screen tearing, I don't really notice.
Like I very rarely notice it or see it, and at the minute I haven't gotten to any huge areas, massive cities, so that could be why.
Right.
I just unlocked the town building thing, which is hilarious.
Versus.
As soon as I saw it, it was like, oh no, Boston, no.
I'm in trouble.
No, Boston.
I gotta build every last square inch of that village.
I was literally going to say to you, if you don't have the plan to play it first, play Legion first, because this might be one of those.
Yeah.
Do you get to choose the placement of stuff in your village, or is it just, hey, get these resources, build this thing?
At the moment, it's just take these resources, build this thing.
Okay.
Because if it was a dark cloud,
I was gonna say like if it's Dark Cloud
No,
2, I'm in real trouble.
Let's not invoke the Dark Cloud gods where it gives you
Right.
puzzles to the best layout of your town to get your rewards. Like
Yeah.
let's not invoke that hell beast. But so far there's a lot in this game, as there is in every Assassin's Creed game. It feels like.
Right.
Minor spoilers, obviously. The assassins are back.
Whoa.
Except
And
they're
their
not the
creed?
assassins. They are still the hidden ones. So we're in that time period.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And the Templars are back.
Okay.
Except it's not the Templars, it's still the Ancient Order or whatever it's called.
Right.
So we're definitely in that time period.
Okay. Interesting.
There's a lot of tattoos on display. Obviously,
Great.
Norse kind of thing.
Yeah.
Shanties are back,
Yes.
but you can also trade out shanties for stories, so you can tell stories like God of War style in the boat.
That's cool.
There's a new dice minigame.
Okay.
It's like a turn-based tactical dice game, which is ridiculous.
They just put Tharsis in there. Jeez.
And even better, there is rap battling.
What I've always wanted.
In the old Norse tradition of rap battles, where they
Right.
literally they're throwing poems at each other basically and trying to insult each other.
Right.
But it's basically the modern day equivalent is it's a rap battle. And you have a charisma stat. And the more rap battles you win, the higher your charisma goes, and you get increased dialogue options.
And people want to say that the Assassin's Creed games are boring. I've never played a rap battle in any of the other 15 Assassin's Creed games. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's so dumb. But everything you previously liked is back. You know, the cloak system is back, the stealth system is back. I just got my hidden blade,
Okay.
which is a fantastic moment, and I will not tell you why it's a fantastic moment. It's just genuinely a fantastic moment. I am playing as the female version of Evidor, or however you say their name,
Of course, yeah.
because too many white dudes in video games, so that's fine. I'll play as the white woman instead.
And Cassandra was great in the last one.
Cassandra was incredible.
Yeah.
So far, she hasn't lived up to Cassandra's name, but that's like if you're talking about pole vaulting, you're going to have to Icarus it and pole vault it to the sun to beat Cassandra kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's a tall order at this point.
Yes. I left the Animus for the first time. Started reading a bunch of notes, and then realized I completely forgot everything about the ending of Odyssey.
It's all coming back to you. It's like, yeah, boy, a lot of stuff happened there. Okay.
I remember the main beats. I remember the staff. I remember the staff wielder. I remember that particular moment. I remember who gave the staff to the other person, who gave it to the other person. I remember that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Who bequeathed it to.
Right.
Yes. Oh, yes. That whole sequence. I remember that stuff.
Does getting out of the Animus feel as jarring as it had, I guess, in the last couple of Assassin's Creed games? Not necessarily Origins and Odyssey.
Not particularly, because this time you are pulled out of the Animus because there is a journey about to happen that will take some time.
Okay.
Going from the place to the place. That journey takes some time. So they literally pull you out because the generator is fritzing up. So it's like, we'll just scrub through the timeline. When you're ready, we'll
just fast forward
you back in.
Right.
Basically. Okay. But Becca is back, and so is Sean. As much as I hate him, Sean is back.
Okay.
Things are happening, and I did watch the ending of the Odyssey game again, just to refresh my memory on smaller aspects of it.
Gotcha.
I don't really want to say too much more than that. A lot of the systems from Odyssey are back.
Okay.
And if you remember how much was in Odyssey, you'll remember the thing I'm talking about when I say that.
Yeah, it sounds like it's largely kind of they're taking the next small step after Odyssey, and kind of everything you'd expect is there, but it has a pretty lengthy intro point, just like Odyssey did, and Origins to a certain point. But Odyssey felt a lot like, all right, I got like 5 hours into this, and I'm kind of... They're getting close to taking the training wheels off.
7 hours in, and I got the title card, and I was like, "Oh, I forgot it does this." And dropped the title card so late.
Yeah,
I mean, I hate to say this, but the game looks incredible. Like I'm playing this on my Series X, and that draw distance is insane. Like, legitimately insane. I was looking the other day, and I half wanted to take a screenshot and then post it on Twitter and be like, "See that mountain? You can go to that mountain over there."
Look at that mountain.
Just to be a D-bag, but I didn't.
You can float your boat over to that mountain now.
That's right.
Yeah, fun fact. If you go in the water, she complains about it being cold, and you can freeze to death. Just so you're aware of that, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, I love the snowy white boots. It always makes me think of Spider-Man 2008, because when you're trudging through the snow, and then you leave the snow, she's just literally wearing a pair of white boots. So
little white spider booties.
Spider booties.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot in this game.
Yeah.
I could tell there's going to be a lot in this game because I've barely scratched the surface, and I've put like 8 hours into it so far. Shocking. I know.
Right.
I know. But the Out of Animus stuff takes place straight after the Out of Animus stuff from Odyssey. So it's continuing that story.
Good.
It gives you a mystery as to why you are the person you are and why you're there. And it starts... Desmond is back.
Cool.
Minor spoilers there, by the way, folks.
Yeah.
Desmond is back.
I have questions.
As audio log form.
Oh, boy. Okay.
He sounds like the same actor as well, so he just came in for like 10 minutes to record these 2 audio logs. I was like, what? Really?
So he's not back. You're just getting old audio formats of his voice. Okay.
Yes, it sounds exactly like him, and I can't help but wonder: are they A, deep fake, or B, did they literally just pay him to come into the studio for like 10 minutes?
Probably, yeah, on a Zoom call.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel at the moment. It plays like Assassin's Creed plays. Questionable feeling about the raiding of churches.
Sure, a lot of complicated stuff there. Yeah.
Spoiler alert: the Vikings, while generally, and the Norse people as a whole, while generally very great poets, great writers, great literature, great honor, didn't have that same respect for people who were not Norse.
Yeah.
So every time you every time you sail past a church, someone on your boat will be like, "Look at the church! There's going to be riches there. We should go raid them. Let's be Vikingers."
To be fair, though, everybody in that time frame still hated everyone quite a bit.
Yeah.
Everyone still hates everyone. It's 2020, dude. So
That's true.
nothing has changed since that time. The only difference is
It's a little different.
Yeah.
The only difference is we don't set stuff on fire with as much abandon as we used
A
to.
lot more boats.
Salt of the earth it doesn't apply so much anymore.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
It's so far it's fine. So far it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I don't know how I'm going to manage to beat this game before Game of the Year shows up, but we'll see.
Won't.
I mean, Godspeed.
Yeah. You could play that from now until then only, and you won't beat it.
Yeah. Do I sacrifice Apex to ride to Valhalla? Is the question.
Yeah. Every season's question.
Do I sacrifice Apex to play this game? Do I sacrifice Apex to play that game? The answer is usually no. But no, Valhalla is genuinely, so far, it's ticking the right boxes. We will see where the story goes. It's already throwing historical figures at me, which I find hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, here is this person. Wait, is that who I think it is? Quick Google. Yep, that's exactly who I think it is. Okay.
Right.
Like, it doesn't go so obvious as, oh, look, there's Pythagoras.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I was going to say, have you found your Da Vinci yet?
Yeah.
I have not found my Da Vinci yet. I'm sure he will show up at some point.
Yeah.
I do have some people who are interesting. But yes, anyway. ACV, go play it. I feel like I'm heavy metal band now. ACV, throw up the horns. Yeah, it's ticking the right boxes. We'll see how I feel 60 hours down the line.
Yeah.
Can it live up to Odyssey and can it live up to Origins?
Because tall order.
No offense, we expected nothing from Origins, and it turns out to be one of the games of the year. And then we expected less from Odyssey, especially considering it was pushing the whole 300 thing, and it was even better.
That's so good.
When they're in trouble, they've got a high bar to reach with this one, and hopefully they do. But that's all I've been playing. Mr. Nimp, tell me about your 2 games that have 17 words in the title.
My list is significantly short just because I had a lot of real life problems this past 2 weeks. So I did play War of Cold Steel 4. Not a whole lot to really talk about that right now. It's all mostly cutscenes. I haven't been able to play a lot of it because of the cutscenes, because you get into a new town and all of a sudden you're in a half-hour, 45-minute cutscene. And there's been a lot of times the last 2 weeks my PlayStation has been on and paused at a cutscene because something has happened and I can't save or stop or anything. So
the Metal Gear Solid problem.
Yeah. At least I can stop it this time though.
Yeah,
that's the only saving grace. So I haven't been able to put a whole lot of time into that. The only other game I've been playing is Genshin Impact, because a lot of that is just quick, 5-10 minutes in. I can usually get something done, and then that's been about enough time for something else to go wrong, and then I have to shut everything down and go fix stuff. So they had a new patch come out Monday night going into Tuesday. This does not bring in a new area to explore. This is just a continuation of the story that the game ended at.
Like in the second area?
Kind of.
Ish.
Yes. So you get to go into a new area within the second area.
Okay.
Story continues on. You get an actual boss fight, which we haven't really had yet in this game.
Ooh.
And it's awesome and difficult. And you get cutscenes, which we haven't really gotten. Like, we've had characters talking to each other.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like full on looks like anime cutscenes right now.
Ooh,
kind of stuff, which is really awesome. And then that story ends and that's it.
Okay.
So it concludes what had happened before. It's really awesome. I felt like it happened a lot faster, like the pacing was off just a little bit, but it was really cool. The best thing about this patch was that there was a lot of quality of life stuff that they added, which has really, really improved a lot of things with this game. We still don't have a faster resin regen, which is basically your energy for you to be able to do certain things. But we have a higher cap, so now you don't have to log in twice a day to get certain conditions met. You can just do it all in one go and be good to go.
Right.
They've added the ability so that you can lock out weapons so you don't accidentally use them or do something stupid with them and delete them or whatever.
Oh, good.
They've added reputations to the 2 cities that you have access with. So every week you have bounties that you can do, you have weekly quests that you can do, and just like exploration and one other thing that you can do as well that will earn you rep, which will get you more points and stuff.
That's cool.
So yeah, they've added a lot of extra stuff. The next big update that everyone's waiting for is December, which that is supposed to be the one that's adding the 3rd new area.
Oh, okay.
Which by playing the end of this story and playing the extra quest that you get for Child, you know where you're going now.
Oh, okay.
And it seems like it's going to be pretty awesome.
Nice.
Child is the new banner character that you get. He is the first character that can switch between ranged weapons and melee weapons.
Ooh.
And it's pretty aweson.
Nice.
So,
can you do that on the fly, or do you need to like change his equipment to do so?
You equip. I don't have him yet. I just played him through the test run, and through his side mission, you get to play him. So I haven't been able to look at his inventory, but it looks like you can equip him with a bow. And that's his main weapon that you're equipping him with. And then he actually creates like a water type, like a water-based weapon. So you can switch. His main bow is the actual thing that you give him. You switch him into melee, and he'll create like 2 water swords.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and then he'll create like a water staff or something. It's either like a staff or a pike or something that he uses.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's cool. The only thing I haven't been able to figure out is if you're in melee for a certain amount of time, or if you don't meet certain conditions, you'll switch back to the bow, and then you have like this massive cooldown on being able to go back into melee, which is like 30 seconds.
Oh, right.
So I don't know if you're supposed to be switching back and forth, or if there's certain conditions you're supposed to be meeting to keep that cooldown down, or what. But it just seems like a cool design because it's the only character that can switch either they're a range character or they're a melee. That's it so far. So it's an interesting concept for them. But that's it. That's all I've been able to do this week. Last 2 weeks.
Big release for me this week. Destiny 2 Beyond Light came out.
Yeah, dude. If I download that,
yeah.
Don't sound so excited when I say that.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Hang on. Before you finish saying that, Boston Elite.
Hey, that's in our news stories, but hey, the problem with Elite for me is not purchasing it; it's diving deep into it.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Like
so you
6
both
hours into it.
If Moon continues on with what we think he's going to say, and you just dedicate a little bit of your time, eventually.
I feel like this is like equivalent exchange, and I'm going to get bitten
this
here.
podcast is sponsored by Skillshare, and this month we're going to exchange our skills in such a following way. If I download Destiny 2, will you help me get those good guy updated achievements?
100%.
Okay. And if I do so, then you have to get Elite so I can help you get into Elite and then become a problem for yourself. Use promo code TVGP over at Skillshare.com. Don't do that. It's not real, folks.
No, it's not real. Skillshare, reach out to us.
Or do it and just let us know. Maybe we'll be surprised.
Yeah. Moon brings up a good point. Destiny 2 and all of its expansions, including the one that just came out this week, are all on Game Pass for Xbox, not for PC. That will be coming later next year, if you sort of read between the lines.
So beat Call of Duty, uninstall Call of Duty, replace that with Destiny.
Yeah, Destiny is now significantly smaller, now that they removed 2/3 of the game. It's about 60 gigs now, so pluses. I haven't had as much time. It's been a really bad week. for a number of reasons. I haven't had as much time or desire to play anything that I normally would, so I'm not as far in Destiny 2 as I would sort of like to be. Europa is really, really interesting. There's a couple big improvements. Some of them are super inside baseball. I'm not going to cover them. Destiny 2, we had to re-download Destiny 2 because like Bungie changed a whole bunch of stuff on the back end. There's a really interesting tech article about what they did to revamp their AI system. But one of the other improvements was the new lighting system, which looks really, really, really good. It's a shame that the next-gen patch is not available on consoles yet, because it is 4K, it is HDR, it is 30 frames, which is fine, but when you get that stuff at 60 frames, that's the good stuff. That comes out December 8th, for anyone that wants to hop into Beyond Light at that point. Europa is really great. It's huge. It's the first like proper snowy planet we've gotten. The end of Destiny 1, we got Cosmodrome that had some snow, but this is really like Sub-Zero stuff is real bad. It's very clearly continuing the pyramid storyline that we've been dealing with for the entirety of Destiny 2. So that stuff is really great. I love Destiny 2's community. Let's put that out here at the start.
No, all communities are trash, except for ours.
I love them because they visit DestinyEmblemCollector.com.
Okay, that's why you love them.
Right.
You like the products. You don't like people. You
That's
like
right.
the products.
I sure do. They continue to misunderstand how Destiny 2 campaigns work. So what people are misunderstanding is the Destiny 2 campaign is really just the prologue. It's a handful of missions, takes you about 3 hours. At that point, you get stasis. That's the new dark ice powers. And the reason why that's only 3 hours is because they're trying to get you the cool new thing. And they kind of teach you how to use it very slowly as you're going through, give you a couple of opportunities to use it alongside your existing powers. And they have kind of this cool... They've been doing this thing for the last 2 expansions where it's like, here's the big bad guy. Her name is Aramis in this one. Here are all of her like lieutenants, all the Mega Man style bosses. Take all of them out, then you can take her out, then you'll get your cool new dark ice powers. At that point, that starts like the campaign part where you start earning upgrades for your class. You start earning new powers, new grenades, new melee abilities, stuff like that. So they really try and push hard to get you stasis, and then the longer tail on it is here's all the stuff that you can get to equip your brand new class, because unlike Arc, Solar, and Void, the 3 original classes, those have 3 skill trees in them. Skill trees is kind of not the right way to put it. You basically have like 3 builds you can pick, but you can't really customize them. Stasis is totally different. When you customize that class, it presents you with a bunch of empty like grid spots, and you're building your class based on they call them aspects and fragments. Aspects are kind of the big, large changes to your class. Fragments are kind of little, small changes to your class. So you can really build your stasis class however you want it for that specific character type. So it's really interesting to give you the framework pretty quickly, and then I'm working through like the 50 quests they give you to do stuff in. They made a really smart change this time where the pinnacle weapon and a lot of the class stuff is all... Here's how do they present it. There are 3 core playlists. The Vanguard, which are strikes, Crucible, PvP, and Gambit, which is the PvEV. Thank you. So how they've done it this time is usually before it'd be like, all right, run a couple strikes for step 1 and do some stuff. Step 2, hit the crucible. Step 3, go and gambit. Now they say, here are the 3 core playlists. Here's your path. Which one do you want to go down? If you don't like Crucible, you don't have to do any of it this season to get the cool stuff. You can pick Gambit, you can pick Strikes, and you can just do it in the core playlist you really want. I love Gambit, so I'm picking Gambit at every opportunity. So like this season or years, I'm still not sure, special pinnacle weapon, I'm doing all of that stuff in Gambit. All of my aspects and my fragments, doing all of that stuff in Gambit because I have an easier time doing it in there. I think that's a really great quality of life change because a lot of people will be like, yeah, man, I can blow through this stuff in strikes, no problem. And then I'm on this step for 3 months because I'm not great at PvP.
Yeah.
It's nice to see them change that. It's Beyond Light is weird right now because it's not fully out yet because the raid hasn't launched. That happens on the 21st. Usually when a new raid launches, after the first team beats it, the game kind of changes or the location changes. So we still don't have like an entire activity type that you can see in the in-game achievements and you see it in the trailers and stuff. That's still not out yet. The new season hasn't started yet. Season of the Hunt starts on Tuesday, so that's going to flesh out even more stuff. So this week was basically, let's get reputation built up with the new vendor. Let's do these quests, all of which are really cool. Let's learn this new location type. Let's start building up our gear, start getting our power levels back up, and kind of start getting ready for the next step of stuff that's going to happen.
What's the power level cap at now?
It's over 9,000.
Power level cap. So the thing that I've been really liking what they've been doing is no matter if you start now or you've been playing for a while or whatever, as soon as you fire up Beyond Light, you'll be 1050. So it doesn't matter if you haven't played for 2 years and you were 300. You and all of your gear is 1050. That's the minimum power level for everything. You can just hop into whatever you want to do. As long as it is an end game, I'm not ready for that stuff yet either.
So they're doing what WoW does, where like
Yep.
every time a new big expansion comes out, they kind of just flatten the curve for everybody.
Yep, which is
like,
great.
Here is the new curve.
Yeah, because I think that's really great because Moon, if you hop in, I don't want a new player or returning player's experience to be, all right, well, let's go do a bunch of boring stuff, or like, let's farm this lost sector to get you up to doing things. So the soft cap is 1200, which is essentially doing literally anything in the game will get you to 1200. Blues or purples will get you big bonuses. The hard cap is 1250, so that's basically purples will take you past that, and the pinnacle cap is 1260. So that is like end game stuff will get you up to 1260. And the highest level content I've seen in the game so far is 1280, and the highest difficulty of Nightfalls will be 1300, and those launch at the end of December. But that's all like super end game stuff.
So raid gear.
Oh, your raid gear, yeah.
Above the Nightfall.
The raid is gonna launch at 1250. So that's not nearly as bad as I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, but the gear from that, I'm assuming, will take you to the 1300 for the Nightfalls.
Yeah, probably. We're sort of working with two systems that's interesting. Your gear score, but then on top of that is every time you fill up your XP bar on your seasonal artifact, it gives you +1 power. So you sort of have your gear score, and then on top of it, this extra additional artifact power. And the artifact, especially for the first like 10 or 15 levels, is really easy to level up. So you're just kind of like, well, my gear is 1200, but my artifact is already 5, so I have a total of 1205.
Okay.
So getting to 1300 is a lot easier if you're playing a lot of the end game stuff. So, but so far, Beyond Light, really great. I'm very excited for Season of the Hunt because they are picking up a storyline that they started like a year and a half ago, something like that. Like it kind of picked up, it ended, and then the post-Forsaken stuff. There's been some stuff in the lore books, and now that character returns as a vendor, which is really pretty surprising. So very excited to start that stuff this week. So I'll have more stuff to talk about when that comes out. But so far, Beyond Light is great. Everybody in the clan has been really enjoying it. And as long as you stay off the subreddit, then you'll be pretty happy with it too. Because if you're not playing it, you're complaining about it, I guess.
All communities are trash.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for ours, the best community on the internet. I have been playing a bunch of Hades this week. I finally got my very first victory.
I saw this. Congratulations.
Thank you.
3 weeks after We Roguelike
Right.
it wrapped up.
No big deal. I destroyed that game with the punchy fists. I decided to give them a try because I was like, well, a lot of these other weapons I'm kind of not crazy about, and the sword is clearly not doing it for me. Let's try these punchy fists, and I got a great build that just wrecked that game. And that was pretty great ending. Really great reason for you to get back into the underworld, which I thought was really great. And then the game is like, hey, here's about, like Moon said on We Roguelike It, here's about 5 new systems. Let's get back in there.
Yep.
And Hades is really good.
I'm at the point at the moment where honestly I'm debating not playing it anymore and wait until it gets its Xbox release.
Yeah, I'm hoping they start talking about that because it seems like the post 1.0 launch bug fix patches and stuff like that have kind of slowed down because it seems like the game is in a relatively stable place. So I hope that the team is starting to work on it for PS4, Xbox One, and the current gen consoles. Because yeah, I like playing it on the Switch. Like it's more than great over there, but
I have to play it on my PC, so
yeah, and
experience.
Yeah, and it works great. But yeah, try and play like a little bit of Hades here and there just to kind of keep making progress, keep unlocking stuff, and it's just so good. It's just fun. God, it's so good. All right, so my last 2 games here are the PS5 games. First, I want to talk about AstroBot's Playroom. This is the sort of showpiece game that's built in. It comes pre-installed on your console. It really is the showpiece for the controller. And
it's Alex Kidd.
Yeah, but this is no insult to Alex Kidd, I promise.
Alex Kidd is a hot garbage game that I absolutely adore.
Yeah. AstroBot's Playroom is a really good game. Like, it has no business being this good of a game, but it is genuinely I keep coming back to it just to be like maybe I'll play a little bit more AstroBot. Like, why not? I've got all these other, AAA games to be playing, but yeah, let's go back to AstroBot. You've probably seen stuff about it online. It is a really great showpiece for the feedback, the haptic feedback on the controller. So much of that stuff feels so good in a way that it is genuinely hard to explain, where it's like AstroBot is skating on ice, and weirdly enough, that sure does feel like skating on ice. That's odd. It's one of those things where hopefully people can get DualSense and AstroBot in their hands just to try that stuff out, because it really is super incredible. And they do a really great job of combining the speaker in the controller. There's also a microphone. The speaker in the controller and the audio from the game sort of in concert. So like every once in a while you'll have to flick your finger across the touchpad to sort of send AstroBot flying, and the sound will go from the controller where AstroBot is flying out of over to your TV. So there's a lot of really cool little things like that in there, and it's a little bit like explaining the coolest scene you've seen in a movie, where it's like, yeah, I don't really get it.
From everything I've heard, it seems to me like it's a bit like talking to people about the Fast and the Furious movies if they haven't seen them.
Right. It's like you just need to sit down and watch them. Like the DualSense controller in AstroBot very much is like that. It's like I want to put the controller in your hands, and I want to run through like a brand new game from the beginning, and you just need to experience it. And it's surprisingly really good. But the other PS5 game I'm playing is, of course, Bugsnax. I was expecting this game to be funny, but I don't think I was expecting it to be as funny as it is. All three of us were, including my kid, were laughing pretty hard at this the whole time. Mostly because all of the snacks themselves say their names, kind of like Pokemon. So, like, the burger with fry legs, who's called Bunger, he's just walking around going, Bunger, 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 Bunger. And, like, my favorite so far is Shishka Bug, is a bug with a shish kebab for a body. And when you scare it out of a bush, it goes, Shishka Bug! And it is consistently really great. It uses the speaker on the controller in a really great way, which is when you capture a snack and you put it in your bag, when it says like, oh, you've captured a shishka bug, as soon as like the little musical stinger stops playing, the snack's voice comes out of your controller, you go, shishka bug. Like it each one has like a very serious like, oh, you got me thing, where like you catch a bunger and it goes, bunger. And it makes that same noise too when you feed it to someone. So like as they're falling into the open maw of someone who hungers for Bugsnax, it'll say like shishka bug and then get chomped.
Question.
Yeah.
Is this as secretly dark as I hope it is?
That's what I was gonna say. When does it do the 180?
Yeah, it sort of is this like weird body horror thing where it's like everyone is like, I can't, these Bugsnax are changing my limbs, but they're so delicious. I can't stop eating them. I need a new hairdo. Why don't you get me a, oh god, what is it called? A pinantula? It was a pineapple tarantula. And you give that to her and she eats it, and now her head is a pineapple and she's finally happy. And it's like, this is
okay.
it's getting weird. The main part of Bugsnax is more puzzly than I was expecting. I think I was almost expecting it to be like Pokemon Snap, where it's like, I found one, toss this thing, oh, we're gonna capture it. But it really is a lot more involved about like using lures and traps and scaring snacks with other snacks to sort of scare them into you or lead them somewhere else where you need to go. And then on top of that, the intro of the game is you're a failed journalist that has heard about this island of Bugsnax. And this adventurer on the island has invited you there so that you could interview everybody and show her discovery of the Bugsnax to the world. And when you land, you find out that she has gone missing. She went out to look for more snacks for a while ago and hasn't returned. Kind of nobody knows where she went. But the large part of it is sort of restoring the town of Snacksburg back to its former glory. Like once
a town building game, you said.
I know, I'm really in trouble in 2020 here. But like everybody left the town because she left and she was really keeping the community together. So now that she's gone, everybody kind of wandered off and they're doing their own thing. So a lot of it so far in the early game is, all right, let's do a bunch of missions for you. I'll get you back in town and you can run a new thing in town that will give me some additional clues as to where this woman has gone. And that's primarily the most that I've played at this point, because I got like a whole set of missions done. I was like, all right, I got like 4 or 5 missions from some other people. I think it's a good time for me to take a pause here before I dive into the next set of missions. But I'm enjoying it a whole lot so far. I mean, this is kind of a game made for me, especially with the surprise town building mechanics. But so far, it seems really, really good and seems a lot more involved than what I was expecting, which is even better because it's on PS Plus this month for PS5. So
Yep.
another one of those games where I was ready to plop down the cash and I don't need to. Also, if you're planning on getting a PS5 and you have PS Plus, just go sign into the webpage and add it to your library because you can download it later then.
Yep.
So you don't have to pay for it later. But that's all I'm playing. Let's take a break.
Yep.
Yep.
Refreshing. Oh, man. I also did buy a super tiny controller this week.
Oh, is that the one that are
Jesus.
you gonna? Is that the one you're gonna program for your PC for shortcut keys?
Yeah, I was hoping to program it for Audacity, because I'm hoping to use like these face buttons in my left hand to kind of say like, oh, well, here's the Control R, here's the Control L, here's the save,
Yeah.
and try and do that. Because the one selling point is it does do X input, so I should be able to just program it to do shortcut keys, and that should make my freelance job go way faster.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How's
As
that been
you're
going for
doing
you?
the fucking Konami code while you're editing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, it's going really well. I've been working with them for I think a year now. We're starting on season 2, so things are going pretty well.
Sweet.
Yeah. All right, I am. We're recording for a while. I'm ready to start whenever you guys are.
Yep.
I'm ready.
All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of November 16th, 2020. Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate comes out for PC, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X, and Stadia. You got one of them. It's coming out. It looks like this contains most, if not all, of the DLC. It's a little hard to tell what DLC is what for Mortal Kombat 11 because it's like we did Pack 1, Pack 2, Aftermath. Here's a bunch of
Rambo
other
just came out. So
yeah.
yeah.
movie people that came out. It's like I don't know. It's a bit of a weird package. Serious Sam collection comes out on Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. This contains the first 3 games. Just a series that I never played enough of, but I kind of enjoy anyway. I do like Talos Principle a lot, which is hilariously made by the same team.
Yep, weirdly enough.
Yeah. Sniper Elite 4 comes out for the Switch. I was still convinced this next game is a joke, and it is genuinely coming out. Bridge Constructor, The Walking Dead is coming out for Android, iOS, Switch, PC,
Dude.
PS4, Xbox One, and Series X.
They did a Portal version of that. You cannot be surprised that the Walking Dead one exists.
It's just so weird. I can understand.
It makes more sense for the Walking Dead because you have to build a bridge to avoid the zombies.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's so far past the prime of The Walking Dead right now.
Right.
That
Well, I
even
think
when
they
I
just-
read that just now, I was wait, the what?
Right. It's so weird. Star Renegades comes out on the Switch and Xbox One. This comes to PS4 a week or 2 after this. That's that cool turn-based JRPG roguelike. That I played a little bit of on PC, but I want to say this is coming out on Game Pass too. This game is super cool. If you're looking to play something that's a different type of roguelike or a different type of RPG, you should really check out Star Renegades. And it has the Nemesis system in it. So if your run gets ended by an enemy, that enemy gets promoted, and you got to face a harder one next run. And I think that is super cool. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity comes out on the Switch. This is the prequel to Breath of the Wild Musou game that looks like it has about 400 bajillion hours worth of content in it. So
it's a Musou game. They all do.
Yeah,
looks like it's gonna be fun though.
Yeah, this one looks good. I don't know if I've ever played a Musou game before.
I was gonna say Warriors wasn't bad at all.
Right.
The story just wasn't really anything to write home about.
Yeah.
But since this is supposed to be the pre-story of what happened in Breath of the Wild, it seems like they put a lot of thought and time into the story in this one.
Yeah. I was hoping to play Persona 5 Strikers, but it seems like Atlas has forgotten about that.
TBA.
Yeah. Whoops. And last but not least here, Katamari Damacy Reroll comes out on PS4 and Xbox One. If you haven't played the Katamari games, this is like a mashup of the first two, and it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
The first two are the best ones. Some of the other ones are kind of a mixed bag, but first two are really good, especially that first one. All right, let's move on to news stories. As we talked about earlier, Elite Dangerous is free on the Epic Games Store between the 19th and the 26th. That's this upcoming week. So if you want to...
They also just announced that the base purchase of Elite Dangerous on the Xbox will get you all of the DLC.
Yeah, I believe that was across all the consoles or whatever.
Yeah, in prep for the big expansion coming out next year. They're kind of
pulling a Destiny.
Yeah, and good for them. Like, you want to get everyone in. It is frustrating to say, all right, you got to buy this thing, and then this other $40 thing, and this $10 thing, and this $20 thing is good too. And it's like, yeah, it's free, but I'm spending like $90. What the hell? So good on them. Go pick up Elite Dangerous and go join the problem. Problem in quotes. Yeah. And last news story here. Everybody act surprised. Mass Effect Legendary Edition has been announced. Gasp. N7. They announced it on N7. Whoa. So this is the full remaster of the original trilogy. 4K, higher frame rates. Includes all the DLC, including all of the promotional stuff. So you get the... what was the one for 2 or 3? Was it the Dead Space suit you could also get in...
that was 2, and I'm pretty sure there was a version of
Dragon Age
as well.
Yeah.
All you had to do was play the game, or you had to have a save file or something like that.
Yeah. Something like that.
Because I have it, but
yeah,
that suit looked really cool in Dragon Age.
It looked very cool. Yeah.
The only downside with the Mass Effect versions of those suits is a lot of them had the helmets attached, so you couldn't do the helmet off option.
Oh, right, that's true. Yeah. It's going to come out on PS4 and Xbox One. The PS5 and Series S and X will get targeted enhancements, whatever that's going to mean. I'm just assuming maybe ray tracing or whatever.
Elevator ride's going to be hella short.
That's right. It's going to be awesome. It's going to come out spring 2021, and they... if you read between the lines, it sounds like they're largely leaving 2 and 3 alone, and they're kind of spending a lot of time revamping 1, because 1 needed the most TLC from like a inventory management standpoint and like a...
From an engine standpoint, dude.
Yeah, like 2 was such a huge leap over the first one that... If they were just like, yeah, we up-resed them to 4K, here you go, I'd be like, oh boy, okay. So
were they changing the actual combat system in 1? Because 1 still was based off of
skill,
slight dice rolls, and 2 was when it really turned into a shooter.
They haven't really said, but I almost feel like they're gonna just turn 1 into a third-person shooter, like a third-person cover shooter too, which is fine. Like, I liked 1 a lot for what it was, but I feel like putting all three of them in the package, you probably want all three of them to kind of play the same. And I don't think I personally don't think that would ruin one. I think it'd be a lot easier to get people into the series where it's like you learn it here in one and it just carries over the whole way.
Yeah.
So very curious to see what they're going to do on these. I haven't played any of the Mass Effect games in a really long time, so I'd be really curious to potentially go back. They also announced that they're working on a brand new one with like a veteran team within BioWare, but that was literally, and they posted one like concept art, and that was literally it. So that's not even. Let's wait for concept art to show up at every E3 for the next decade until it actually comes out.
No. We've got to sit down with the developers, have a chat while showing the concept art about concepts behind the game.
That's right. We all really love the original trilogy, and of course we love Star Wars. So we wanted to bring this into, yeah. Already written the E3 thing, yeah. But that seems pretty cool. Very excited to see when that comes out and see how that runs, especially on the new consoles. Curious to see what they're going to do there. Let's move on to a question this week from T-Bomb Rocks. Says, a question popped up on Twitter about what console launches did you participate in, and which console did you feel delivered the most day one value for you? Excuse me. Nimp, you can go first.
Yeah, I don't buy day ones.
Yeah. You're the smart one. You'll wait for all the launch production issues to get over.
That's kind of what it is. Is just it's not that I don't want them. It's just it would be my luck that I would buy it, and the first one that I get is the Red Ring of Death all over again, and then I have to go through all of that crap, and I would hate to go through that crap right now.
Yeah, where it's like, all right, you got your brand new console, and it's bricked out of the box.
Yeah,
support has been great, but they don't have any consoles. Yep. Crap. Now, I haven't done a lot of them. I did PSP and Vita because I believed in those poor doomed little handhelds. I don't think I did Dreamcast, but I was pretty early on that. And I did 360, Xbox One, PS3, and PS4, and now these two new ones, I think. I can't think of any of the other ones.
I think Microsoft side I've done them all.
Yeah.
I
can't remember if I did original Xbox.
N64, I think I was day one. Or
yeah.
I should say Christmas one because it was a Christmas gift.
Right.
Dude, the original Xbox I bought, I think, a month before the 360 came out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was house sitting for a friend, and he had Knights of the Old Republic, and I bought the original Xbox specifically for the Knights of the Old Republic after I played it for house sitting for him, and then had to figure out how to transfer data from one Xbox to another. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which console did you feel delivered the most day one for you?
GameCube.
Yeah.
Which is a strange thing to say, but the GameCube, like, the early games on that console were actually phenomenal. Hate as much as you want now, like, but that felt like a game changer at the time. Also because it was a disc-based system and Nintendo went into that stuff. I feel like the 360 delivered instantaneously because, hey, I was playing Oblivion and I was playing it on a console.
Yeah, I'm looking up the 360 launch titles here because I feel like for me, the 360 was a really strong launch. Like it had PGR 3, Tony Hawk. It had Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, which I did not play. But it had Tiger Woods 06. Like it had I feel like it was such a huge leap over the original Xbox that it was sort of like, all right, yeah, man, like this is a cool like next gen console. Look at this UI. Wow, that's pre-Blades.
Oblivion was the first 360 game I played too, and that lasted me an entire year.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Yep, they lasted forever.
Yeah, I feel like when you look at the last gen with the Xbox One and the PS4, both of those had fine launches, but nothing super, super strong. And obviously, this new one, we've only had these consoles for like 4 days, so I don't want to say like, I don't want to get into recency bias. Where it's like, of course, the 9th gen is the best. They don't even have any dust on them. That's how new they are.
They certainly have the largest libraries.
Well, they certainly are the largest.
Yes,
Hey-o.
that's true as well.
You know, I do really have to give a lot of credit. I'm not a super big fan of Microsoft's Twitter advertising this generation.
You're kidding me? I love the fact that they lean into the memes. I adore it.
I
They
like
made
them.
a fridge.
I like the memes. I don't like the feeding into the console war stuff because I'm almost 40 and I'm tired of it.
Wait, hold on. When did they feed into the console war stuff?
Don't worry about it. But I do have to say, when they say that like the last 3 generation of games work, they're not lying. Like that stuff works. You download an original Xbox game and it just works. Like I think that stuff is incredible, and it continues to be a missed opportunity over on Sony's side, where it's just none of that stuff from the past works. That darn PS3 messing everything up with its stupid architecture.
Sell, baby, sell. He is the
Yes.
perfect organism, and he will destroy your games.
That's right. Just like DBZ, Cell ruins everything. Man.
The worst thing is that's actually the best saga.
It really is. Hey, that's where Dragon Ball Z should have finished. Weird. Speaking of finishing, that's it for us this week. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Every route to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, including the merchandise store. Merchandise. Oh my goodness, merchandise store. You can visit that and buy the brand new shirt from Moonpier. Buy it on a rug. Buy it on a sticker. Buy it on. You can probably put it on a bunch of other stuff. I don't even know how half that stuff works. I just work here. Patreon.com/E1M1. The ones are numbers. Get all that great stuff over there. Game Club. We just wrapped up our last game of the year, so the special episode will be airing next month, which you probably know what that is already. That turned out to be.
If you know Boston's problem, you know what that is.
I really have a problem. That turned out to be a much more interesting episode than I think we were expecting to be. That one turned out really great. We Roguelike is still rolling. That's Hades was a really great game. You should tune in for that ranking episode because that was pretty spicy. And Critical Misses is still a blast. We're just getting started on season 4 here on the back end, and I think which means season 3 is probably starting for patrons here pretty soon, that was a killer of a season.
I hate you so much sometimes, by the way.
Yeah, that's our episode this week. We'll see you next week. Bye.
See ya.
Bye. Wait, hang on, before we move on to titles, what the hell is a Tiffy?
Teeth.
My teefies.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying that you substituted something else with sugar. Sorry, for people listening, I'm referring to the chat that Moon is in right now.
Right.
He just wrote, used to be sugar, but Tiffys. And I'm like, what the hell is a Tiffy?
Someone asked me how I take my my tea, and the answer is milk and honey, because it used to be sugar, but I have to protect my teefies.
Yep. It's the sugar alternative, Tiffy's brand sugar.
I was gonna say, I didn't know if it was some British thing that...
Right.
You wouldn't be too far off, to be completely honest, if it was some Hades thing.
Tiffy's brand, founded in 1493.
Yeah. Here's some Tiffy's caramel that I throw in there now that melts really good with the hot tea. I mean, I don't know.
All right, Nymph, what are your titles for this week?
All right, I have... It's a Vespin. Pathfinder is cute.
He's so cute.
Drop to the Beat. Poet Rap Battle. Have You Found Your Da Vinci? And Punchy Fists.
Moon, how about you?
Pop the cork, start crying. Which is literally like one of the first things said in this episode. Beat out the bots. It's got a good rhythm to it.
Yeah.
Memory management. Let's be Vikingers, because it's spelled with an R at the end. Use promo code TVGP. And honestly, my favorite, surprise town building mechanics.
Surprise. Can't write. Town building mechanics. I have Slightly Haunted. You build a town. Norse traditions of rap battles. The alternate version of Nymph's one. I have not found my Da Vinci. It's a Bespin. Beat out the bots. Use promo code TVGP and surprise town building mechanics. I have checked. I have not found my Da Vinci. Some of these last ones from Moon, are really good.
Honestly, for me, surprise town building mechanics takes it. Because number one, it was the theme of the show, and number two, you just said it, and I thought it just popped.
I'd be okay with that one. That one's good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Circling it up. Yep. Let me know when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm totally going to steal Nim's one. I know.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Oh, gauntlet. All right,
Challenge accepted.
Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 682 for November 16th, 2020. Surprise town building mechanics.
I mean, it's not Dark Cloud, but what is?
I just put this windmill here, and now it's messing with my feng shui counter.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and listening. See you next week. Bye.
See ya.